Another segmental mobility test that we're going to perform to the lumbar spine is a three-dimensional segmental rotation test in extension. This test is performed with the patient positioned in side lying, and it gives us a strong indication of segmental hypomobility in a particular segment when comparing cranial to caudal. Additionally, it can be used to confirm what we think we already know about a segmental hypermobility from information we've gleaned from other hypermobility tests. In order to perform the test, we place the patient in side lying with the hips and knees flexed slightly to maintain stability to the pelvis. We will then take our mobilizing hand and place it on the rib cage with her elbow flexed around that forearm to help the patient relax. I will then place the patient, or place my middle finger on the mat side of the caudal spinous process of the segment I'm going to test, and I will supinate my forearm in order to be able to get my fingertip of that middle finger against not only the mat side of the spinous process, but also the interspinous space, because I'm going to use it as a feeler gauge. I am now going to take the patient through my mobilization hand into rotation. As I take the patient into rotation, I'm going to feel with the tip of my middle finger rotation of the cranial spinous process of the motion segment, and at the same time I'm going to take them out to rotation only to the point where I begin to feel rotation at the caudal segment. I know at that point I've reached the end of the rotation. This test is 3D because it's incorporating the side bending that's appropriate for that particular segment, not knowing which way they couple. It's allowing them to side bend the way they want to go. And in addition, by virtue of dropping their shoulder back, it's taking them into more extension. So with my fingertip underneath, I rotate the patient until I feel motion in the caudal spinous process, and I know I'm at the end of the range. Now at that point, I will compare the relationship of the cranial spinous process to the caudal spinous process. So in order to do that, I need to first detect any step relationship that exists between the two processes before I conduct the test. Then, when I take them out to their end of the range, I compare that step relationship again. You see, they may start out even, and then as I rotate the patient, may end up creating this step between the two. Other patients may start out uneven and then even up, whereas others may start out here and then go further. The test compares the relationship between the two spinous processes from the starting position and then again at the end when I've reached the segmental rotation end range. I'll perform this test at each segmental level, starting at T10, T11, and I look for rotation in each segment, and a hypomobility would be indicated by a particular segment that appears from my palpation to be less mobile than the segments around it. A hyper would be just the opposite, more motion than the segments around it. So, in review, I palpate the mat side of the caudal spinous process. I then rotate the patient. I feel the step. I rotate the patient till the caudal segment's spinous process begins to move. Then I'm at the end range. I feel the step again and compare the relationships between the two spinous processes from without motion and with motion.